All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Jaron Boots Ennis's team through BOZY Ennis's response to Terence Crawford pulling out of the Errol Spence Jr. fight and saying, "Looks like Bud never wanted it." Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about the 147-pound division, a little bit about what Jaron Ennis's father and trainer had to say about the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight falling out, actually giving some a few extra details, or at least things that we had not heard before about some specific things that Terence Crawford was looking for, but also why he concludes that Terence Crawford never wanted that fight. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you like the content, even if you don't, because, hey, this is one topic. We may very well disagree on Errol and Terence, but a whole lot of other things going on in the boxing world that we very well may agree on. Now, if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, again, thank you so much. Like Deborah Booker, haven't seen you in a while, Deborah Booker, but I hope you're doing well. And thank you for your contributions to the channel. They're never forgotten. I hope you're doing well and getting better from your issue that you had going on. So let's talk about this. BOZY Ennis is the trainer of Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis is a top 3 or top 4 fighter in every major sanctioning body. The WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO. Is one of the best fighters, was one of the best fighters in the welterweight division. One of the best I think he's one of the best fighters in boxing. You know, passes every eye test, you know, that you could throw at him. Now, obviously, he's got to get in the ring and fight, you know, some better competition. However, my take on it is when he gets there, he's going to be just fine, just looking for the opportunity to get in there. And one of the people that he was trying to get in there with is Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, who are the 2 champs in the welterweight division. Also looking for a fight with Keith Thurman. Well, his father and trainer, so that's why when I say team, I'm talking about somebody that works on his team. That would be his trainer and father, BOZY Ennis, was in, I do believe, in New York for the Vasily Lomachenko fight coming up this weekend, has a fighter on the undercard, and was interviewed and asked questions about that Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. fight. And he said, look, he thought that Terence Crawford was asking for things, he had heard Terence Crawford was asking for things that he didn't really have any reason to be asking for. Specifically, was talking about pay-per-view numbers that were going to be taking place in Dubai, and pay-per-view numbers, you know, what would the, you know, access to pay-per-view numbers that are going to be coming out of Dubai and coming out of Mexico and these different places. All right, now that is clearly related to that transparency issue, right? Where Terence Crawford said he wanted to know where all the money was coming from. The problem with that, or at least the strange thing about that, is that that is actually granted to you by the Muhammad Ali Act. Now, the thing that that BOZY Ennis pointed to that I thought was interesting, and I've said in the past, and I will break it down in a second, is that Terence Crawford has said on an interview that he was past the fight. And, you know, when we go through, you know, this is boxing conversation, right? It is what it is. If you're not going to fight, if you fight, people are going to talk about what happened in the fight. Some people are going to think a guy won the fight. Some people are going to think the other guy won the fight, right? Before the fight, people are going to talk about, you know, who they think will win the fight, who will not win the fight. If people are talking about a fight and anticipating a fight and talking about all the things in the lead up to the fight, and the fight doesn't happen, people are going to talk about why the fight didn't happen. This is just reality. That's just what it is. And as many people say, well, I wish people wouldn't talk about that. There's nobody to blame, nobody this, that. It doesn't matter. It does not stop people from talking about it. And it's not going to stop people from asking me about it. It doesn't stop people from coming on my channel calling this guy a duck or that guy a duck. So when it's all said and done and the fight falls apart, there's going to be that post-mortem. And in this particular post-mortem that this man is giving, he says, look, I saw the interview that Terence Crawford did a couple months ago when he said, look, even if I got 50-50, I may not make this fight because I'm past it. Right? Said that. I do believe that was on Akin Barak's show. Shout out to them on DAZN. So he says, look, sounds to me like the man never wanted to fight. And I've made this point on my page. Like, I don't have to say, know for sure why he didn't, whether it was he just absolutely didn't think he could win the fight, or, he just didn't want to fight him, or he's an excellent fighter and he wanted an easier bout. When you take away all of the rumor type stuff related to it, which is things related to how much money was offered for the fight, because we don't know, right? That's something that Andre Ward, even though Andre Ward had said that he thought Al Haymon and those guys were being greedy, after the fight breaks down, he changed his tune and says, look, we don't know what the money is. None of us has actually looked at that piece of paper, right? So when you put away all of the things that are related to things that we cannot verify, you're just left with what the fighters actually say. And what Terence Crawford has said on multiple occasions is that, if this fight doesn't go through, I will fight somebody else. I don't need this fight for my legacy. I'm can move on because I'm already in the Hall of Fame. All of those type of things is what he has said. And then he, at the end of the day, was the guy that walked away from the fight. Errol Spence Jr. has said the entire time that he doesn't have another fight. He doesn't have another plan. His whole focus is to fight Terence Crawford. And he never balked from the fight. He continued to push for the fight. Now, I find it really interesting that when we do assign blame or culpability in this particular matter, how often people point to a guy that nobody's ever talked to on information that nobody can verify, right? And that is Al Haymon. Well, Al Haymon's to blame. Al Haymon's to blame. As far as I'm concerned, that's like saying the boogeyman's to blame. The boogeyman's to blame. The boogeyman didn't want it. Why? Because the boogeyman's going broke, right? Like, you can't verify that the man's going broke. You can't verify that the man did or did not want to fight. All of those type of things are all a bunch of subjective things that are being put out there by people that that may or may not have valid inside sources. However, those things can't be confirmed. And us as boxing fans, and trust me, every time that I talked about a rumor that was out there, there's a whole bunch of people, no matter what side it was, would quickly tell you, you can't verify that. Show me the proof of that. Who said that? Show me the paperwork, right? If you can say that about all of that, then just sweep it aside. Look at who said that they were not that big into the fight, that they were going to take, that they would take another fight, that they were past the fight. And then look at the person that walked away from the fight and the person that said that they didn't have anything but that fight that they were interested in and stayed interested in the fight and did not go anywhere, right? Didn't leave the negotiation after the amount of time. And the guy that said, look, warned you, hey, if this fight falls through, I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to be me. It's going to be him. And what happened? It wound up being him. So look, when we going through these conversations and you want to call about Errol ducking and Terence ducking and all that, understand that if you come to my channel and I'm going to talk about it and talk about it with me, I'm going to tell you exactly who I think is the reason, the but-for cause of that fight not happening. And it's Terence Crawford. And that is just really, really hard to argue with. And however you justify it, him making more money or him wanting to fight sooner, all of that stuff is fine and dandy, but you're still justifying the fact that he's the one that didn't make that fight. And that's just real. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.